In this lesson, we will animate the MEX platform. Alright, so we're ready to begin animating our scene. Let's go ahead and set our end time to 2:30. So that's the entire length of the animation. Fantastic. Now, the next step is to consider blocking in your work to make this as manageable as possible. So that's why we're just working on the platform and the doors here in this lesson. In the next lesson, we'll get to work on our mech. By blocking in your work, again, this is a much more manageable process for you because it's not so overwhelming to get this work finished. You can start to kind of think about different ways you can maybe handle certain things as well by blocking everything in. But if you try to jump on to finishing this project all in one go, you might find that it's just way too stressful and things might still change afterwards. So just take this a step at a time. Let's go ahead and get to it. We'll grab the platform. We'll set the translate y-axis to 0 to bring this up. Now you can see how the platform intersects with the mech's feet just a bit. So here's what we'll do. We'll turn off mesh selection on our status bar. We'll then go to wireframe mode. And then we'll go and grab our global node. Now if you accidentally grab the 3D texture node in the scene, no worries. Just go ahead and set the visibility to 0. Nice. Now we should be able to easily grab the global node. So from there, we'll go ahead and grab our move tool. Let's go ahead and press the 6 key to go back to texture mode so we can see what we're doing here. And we'll translate our mech up just a little bit more. Let's go ahead and round this value out to about 9 in the translate Y of our global control. Fantastic. All right, so now it's time to get our mech constrained to this platform. Again, we don't want to parent our global node to the platform because that's going to remove the global node from the mech's hierarchy. And we have this hierarchy there to create a sense of organization in our scene so that it's very easy to find objects. So we don't want to break that at all. So we'll work with a constraint. We'll go ahead and make sure to grab the target object first. That's the object that controls the constrained object. So let's go ahead and grab our platform. We'll then turn back off mesh selection so we can go ahead and shift select our global node. If you're having trouble selecting it, just go back to wireframe mode with the 4 key. Alright, sweet. I'll go ahead and press the 6 key again. And we're ready to apply a constraint. Let's go ahead and head over to our top menu. We'll go to constrain, parent. Let's go to the option box. We'll make sure maintain offset is on, which it is by default. If this is off, watch what happens when we click apply. The global node is actually going to shift to the exact space of our platform. So in this case, that's not good. You can see how the mech intersects even more. So here's what we'll do. Let's go ahead and press the Z key to undo back. We'll then go ahead and turn back on maintain offset and click add. Fantastic. So now when we go in and grab our platform, let's turn back on mesh selection. You'll notice that the mech will follow. How cool. And another great thing about using a constraint is that we can turn its weight on and off, and we can animate that. So if I were to go back to the global node, you'll notice that we have this weight here connected to the constraint. So we could set that to 0, and now when we try to move the platform, the mech will not follow. Alright, sweet. So again, you can animate that to decide on a moment when the mech might walk away from the platform or fly away. It's really up to your imagination. Alright, so let's say we do this. We'll go ahead and make sure to turn back on the constraint. Very important, right? So let's go ahead and set the weight back to 1 or 100%. That's what the 1 stands for. Alright, so let's now do this. It's time to translate the platform down. So let's go ahead and bring it down. Alright, fantastic. I might go ahead and set this value to about -660. That should give us enough room for the robot to emerge as the doors open. And speaking of which, it's time to animate the doors. Let's go ahead and grab the 2. And we'll play through the animation to get a feel of the timing, when things should happen. Alright, so knowing that, let's say we now go to about frame 17, and we will create a keyframe here on 17 of when we would like the animation to kind of start. I'll also adjust the range slider That way we can focus on the timing here at the beginning. All right, sweet. So we'll have this start on about frame 17 here. And the reason why is because if this happens sooner, the audience might lose what's happening in the scene. Now, on 17, I'd like the doors to close. Since we've already created a keyframe, all we need to do is go ahead and set the value of our transit X on both doors to 0, and that will not only close the doors, but you can see the keyframe will be updated to save this new pose. Now, here's the idea. We'll have the doors kind of pop open just slightly so this all feels mechanical, and then they'll open up all the way, and as that happens, the mech will emerge. So let's go ahead and head over to frame 20, and we'll open the doors just slightly here. Let's say to about a value of 30 on door B, and on door A we can set this to about -30 so that this object mirrors the other. So here's that pop. Fantastic. Now let's go ahead and create a moving hold so that the doors slide open just a bit before they get into their full stride and open up all the way. And by creating a moving hold, that'll still create life in our scene. If we don't have a moving hold in our animations, they might look very robotic and stiff and just wrong. So here's what we'll do on frame 40. We'll go ahead and open up the doors just a little bit more, maybe to about a value of -37 for door A and +37 for door B. So watch this. We've now created a really cool moving hold. Super exciting. Just about finished here. Let's now have the doors open fully. So we'll go to about frame 85. That should be enough time for this to feel epic. So on frame 85, let's go ahead and open up the doors all the way. So I'll just go ahead and slide over door B to, let's say, about a value of 430. And then we'll use -430 for door A. Fantastic. So watch this. Now, as the doors open, this truly feels lifelike. How exciting. All right, so let's go ahead and get to the platform. We'll have it start to rise as the doors open. So let's go ahead and start this on about frame 30. We'll go ahead and set a key on our Translate Y channel. And now let's have the robot lift up all the way, I'd say several frames after. Let's say on about frame 125, we'll go ahead and set our Translate Y to 0. Sweet. So here's how the timing looks. Fantastic. How epic. And now let's say we go ahead and add more of a bounce, a little bit of recoil so that this looks realistic. So the first thing I'd like to do is make it seem as if this platform has been set in place. So we'll go to frame 131 and we'll go ahead and bring it up just a bit more. So it kind of pops into place. Sweet. And now we can create our bounce. We shouldn't create too much of a bounce because then this will look very rubbery. So here's what we'll do on frame 138. We'll go ahead and drop the platform just a bit. Not much at all. All right, sweet. And now we'll go ahead and bring it up just slightly on about frame, let's say 146. Again, if we create too much of a bounce, this is going to look unnatural. All right, let's go ahead and have the platform settle now by translating it down just a little bit on 155. And take a look at this. In no time at all, watch what we've created. We'll go ahead and hit play. So you can see how the doors kind of open in a very mechanical way. And then our mech emerges, and there's that little bounce. How cool is that? Fantastic stuff. Great, and if you feel that the bounce is moving a little bit too much, you could always go to your graph editor. Let's go ahead and do this to finish up. We'll select the animated object, go to the graph editor, focus on the animated track, press the F key. Then you can go ahead and select one of the keys here of the bounce, and you can start to adjust things. I'll just go ahead and select this key on 146 and maybe drop it, holding down Shift and dragging down with the middle mouse button. And I might go ahead and lift up the key a bit on 138, just a bit. And feel free to retime this. If you feel that this is happening too slowly, you can shift this over about one frame to about 137. One frame sometimes actually makes a difference. And then you can grab your tangent and add a little bit of an overshoot to add more of a push to the animation so it doesn't feel robotic. So watch this. Now when we bring up our Our mech here, it looks realistic, right? And when I say robotic, I'm not necessarily referring to the fact that we're animating a robot. I'm referring to the movement not feeling natural, so we have to be really careful about that. But this looks great. And guess what? We're ready to now start animating the mech in the next lesson.